Hi, I'm Suzanne Ottinger, and I was diagnosed with stage 4 gastric cancer in September of 2021, exactly 2 years ago. My metastasis was through my skeleton, so I have not had a gastrectomy. And about a year into my diagnosis, I found out that this was hereditary diffuse gastric cancer, that the gene CTNNA1 that I tested positive for was not actually a variant of unknown significance, but a pathogenic variant.
And I'm Claire, I'm her daughter, I'm 19 years old, we live in Maryland, and I unfortunately tested positive for the CTNNA1 gene, so we're looking for the next steps we have to take to keep us as healthy as possible. When my mom first got diagnosed, I was still a senior in high school, and my life was completely normal. I had a lot of support from my friends at school, but now I go to community college, and I'm probably going to transfer somewhere next year.
I had repeated genetic testing, of course, with this cancer shortly after my diagnosis, and a variant of unknown significance came up for actually two, one for appendiceal cancer, which my first mother had, and then one for gastric cancer. And they assured me that it was very unlikely that that genetic variant caused my cancer, and no, I did not need to have my family tested. So I was watching this video on blood technology.
There is a known genetic predisposition. You can see a number of listed familial diseases there.
And he talked about CDH1, which I was very familiar with. And then he said also CTNNA1. And I thought, that sounds really familiar to me. So I went back to my genetic reports, and sure enough, my genetic variant was CTNNA1. And in this webinar, they said, they thought it was pathogenic. And I emailed him, I sent him my report, and he said, it's pathogenic. You need to have your family tested. So I had to tell my family, my brothers and my sisters and my children. It's very emotional. And to get everybody tested and then to wait for the results, And since then, everybody that needs to be tested has been tested in my family, and some are positive and some are negative. And we've had family members decide that they needed the total gastrectomy. And then we've had other families members decide on surveillance. So now Claire will have to make her decisions on this because she does have the variant.
When I found out I did, I was really upset for a couple of days. And then I was really upset about thinking I'd have to get a gastrectomy because I thought that not having a stomach, that would be the end of my life. I didn't think I'd be able to do anything normal ever again. And then as I saw my family member get it, and as we did some more research about it, I realized that it's not the end of the world at all. I didn't even want to get genetic tested for a little bit because I was so scared of the results. But at the end of the day, I'm so glad I did. I'm glad my whole family got tested because now we know. Since I've only tested positive for the gene, there's still a chance that they won't find gastric cancer yet. So in that case, I can wait and just do surveillance. However, in the case that I do have gastric cancer, I'll have to make the same decision that my family members who have also had it had to take. So I can either get a full gastrectomy, which is I've seen firsthand, it's a very invasive surgery, or I can choose to let the cancer stay there and do surveillance, but I also then run the risk of progressing to stage 2 and having to get chemotherapy and all that stuff. I haven't gotten an endoscopy yet, so depending on the results of my endoscopy, I'll make the decision then.
We're in a trial for hereditary diffuse gastric cancer at NIH. So okay. She's a part of that, and she'll have her endoscopy there.
I kind of have accepted that if my endoscopy ends up saying that I have spots in my stomach, I'll get my stomach removed and then I'll go from there.
At this point, I think the the risk of gastric cancer outweighs keeping her stomach.
Yeah.
They know those signet ring cells are just kind of sitting there, and they don't know what makes them activate.
I keep thinking to myself, I'd rather take the correct precautions now and not ever have to worry about it again than wait and have to worry about it each year. I think it's important to keep an open mind during these processes, because I was very closed-minded at the beginning of the year and I just didn't want to know. And by opening my mind, I've exposed myself to many more possibilities where I won't have to worry about this, and this is going to be fixed for me and my family. So I think going from one young person to another that might be struggling, I would just want to say that, like, there's always ways that you can solve these things, and to never give up. Like, there's always going to be a solution, or at least it's going to get a little bit better.